Living on these islands, for some of us, is a blessing, for others, a curse. But who'd have thought we'd end up on the therapist's couch in the middle of a nervous breakdown, trying to figure out in our heads and in our politics who we truly think we are. Happy islanders or feeling cut adrift? My hope is that with the help of a bit of psychoanalytic insight, we can bring ourselves back together. I've come to Grimsby Docks, once the beating heart of the world's fishing industry. The town has suffered its fair share of deprivation and voted 70% to leave. But despite this history, I find the men of this town surprisingly unruffled and almost philosophical, even in their attitude to Brexit.
Nobody seems to be proud of England anymore.
One of Grimsby's last remaining working fishermen, Daz Kenyon, has invited me to sit amongst lobster pots. Do you want to have a seat? Yeah. To share his thoughts on Brexit. First of all, let me ask you about you, Daz, because I don't know anything about you. You know, where did you grow up? Was it local?
Yeah, I grew up in Grimsby.
Right.
Yeah, I've been here all my life.
All your life?
Yeah, I started fishing when I was about, I don't know, 12 and a half, 13, I started fishing.
Why? Why did you go into that?
I just loved it. Just loved doing it.
What about it?
I used to catch eels at first. Just catching stuff, you know.
So there was never anything else you thought you'd like to do?
No, not really.
I mean, I suppose to me, the very essence of being a fisherman would be a sense of freedom. Like, you know.
Yeah, you have no worries when you're at sea.
Exactly.
Nobody moaning.
Are you a group then who hate rules and regulations? Do you think that's...
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
You know, we don't like being told what to do.
No.
You know.
No. You were one of a very few fishermen left in Grimsby.
In the last few years, yeah.
How many did you say there were now?
There's only about 8 boats running out of Grimsby. That'll be the most there'll be.
And they're all not fishing?
Shellfish.
They're all doing shellfish.
We had people like my dad's age, their life was go to sea, catch fish, come back. There wasn't all this restrictions of where you can go and what you can do. There was none of that, you know, it was just a free-for-all. You went to sea, you try and catch what you can and come in and landed it.
Straight in again then, gents. 320, 25, 30.
An auctioneer at Grimsby's famous fish market, Nelson Slight, is resigned about the decline of the industry he spent 54 years of his working life in. First of all, tell me a bit about yourself.
Because I'm a Remainer, this is unusual for Grimsby because I think the majority of the people in Grimsby voted to leave. My father was in the fish, and my mother was a farmer's daughter.
When you say in the fish, does that mean he was a fisherman or?
No, he was the family firm. He worked for the family firm, and pre the First World War, I was told they were the biggest privately owned trawler fleet in the world.
Right.
Had over 90 trawlers.
Wow. So there's a real sense of tradition then being passed down.
Very much, yeah.
And what about your dad? What was he like?
Great, great. When people say, who would you like to have dinner with, you know, anybody in the world, it would be my dad. I miss him immensely.
Let's just kind of hear a little bit about your working life, because it's going to be relevant, isn't it?
I was made redundant 29 years ago and started on my own. I didn't ever want anybody else to be in the position I'd been in, so I didn't want to employ anybody, so I'd never have to make them redundant. But having said that, it means that for the last 30 years I haven't had a holiday.
There's a kind of independent aspect in this. Right, I'm going to be master of my own destiny. Is that
Try to be.
Try to be master of my own destiny.
Yeah.
Which is very much, isn't it, the kind of feeling that people, I think, who are very keen about leaving, as though leaving would give you more control over your own destiny, and yet you actually feel the opposite.
I do, because it's my business, job, people, you know. If I was doing something else, I might be a leaver. If I'd been 50, I might have been a leaver, but I'm not 50. I'm coming to the end of my sort of reign, and that's why I'm a stayer.
You've been a battler all your life.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't have
Yeah.
this business if you hadn't battled on and
No.
fought for what
No.
you believed in.
Yeah.
Everything you've told me about yourself today gives me that.
But I battle on because I'm my own domain. There's
Yes.
nobody can get inside of me, you know what I mean, and to upset me. Because like I say, we land it, we do it, we sell it, it's gone.
In terms of people around here, I mean, I think it's 70% roughly voted to leave. Do you have any thoughts about why?
I think a lot of it's to do with the going back to being the old fishing town, personally. And I think there's still a lot of ex-fishermen and families, of course, who, you know, look back to the old days, and if we're out of the EU, then they would hope that we get our fishing grounds back.
I don't know if this is right, Nelson, but because there's a feeling when you talk of being a bit disconnected from your community. Now, I don't know if that's fair or that, I mean, it might be wrong.
I think I'm very much my own man, and I don't usually take my work home with me.
Right.
So I don't talk fish with anybody.
You've kind of
apart
let
from the
it
people
go.
who send me, yeah.
You've kind of let it go. If we don't leave, I get the sense that you will kind of think, okay.
Yeah, it's what we expect it, believe you me.
So you don't,
You know.
you don't feel worried that we're going to end up with people really angry and, you know,
Well, I think
fighting or violence?
it's been going on that long, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's going on that long, even longer, even longer, even longer.
Yeah.
Now people are forgetting about it. We don't even mention it round here now. You know, we
It's
don't.
kind of like we got
So
bored
we're
with the
just-
whole thing.
Yeah, you know, whatever will be now, I think.
If we don't go and it somehow sort of all fizzles
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
maybe there's
I think
another
it will.
referendum,
Yeah.
which you think.
It's going that way. And I think it'll win. You know, it'll win to stay in.
And how
Because
will
a
you
lot
feel?
of people like me, I won't vote. I
You
won't
won't
do
vote?
it. And there'll be thousands of people will be the same as me.
Really?
Yeah, I can see it.
Why wouldn't you vote
Because,
again?
you know, we voted to do something and it hasn't happened. So why should we trust them again?
It's been really interesting talking to you, and you've been incredibly thoughtful, and I really want to say thank you for talking to me.
All right.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Nelson, for talking to me today and just
Nice to meet you.
educating me. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Yeah.